What excites you just about this team, this season going in? Where are you at right now?
Mostly what excites me, I would really have to say, just like how close we are as brothers, and just all the stuff that we've been through this offseason and the past season with wins and losses, the ups and downs. We have a chance to come back and make ourselves right and prove that point. So
a lot of guys today have talked about the importance of being connected, the better connection this season than previous years. I realize this is just your second year around the program, but just what fostered that? Where did that come from, and how have you seen that help this team?
Really, I'd have to say just us as brothers, and Coach Lanning coming in and forcing it as well. Just us as brothers coming in together off the field as well. Outside of what coaches are planning for us inside the facility, but off the field, and just hanging out with people. Going and connecting with people that you don't usually talk to. Like for example, going and hanging out with a long snapper, or going and hanging out with the O-lineman and stuff like that. So,
who's been that person for you?
Really, it's been everybody, because ever since Coach Lanning first day he came in and told us, I'm reaching out to people every day, let's go do this, blah blah blah, and stuff like that.
So there's a supreme emphasis on speed this year, and so with going to middle backer, how do you feel like you're fitting into that speed mantra and that identity of this team?
For sure, I for sure have to say, with me coming in at middle linebacker, but also transitioning from safety last year, I feel like I still have a lot of knowledge from the back end, and I'm still as quick as some of the safeties and stuff like that. So I feel like me coming down and being that high speed linebacker would definitely help me a lot.
Last season at this time, you were, like you said, you were preparing to play safety, and that's a little bit different of an adjustment than this year. How much more prepared do you feel like you are for the position? Because you made it look like you had played linebacker all year. Right. During the season. There was very little drop off. Just how much more prepared do you feel like this season you are for your role?
I'd for sure have to say, just knowing what the back end is doing as well, because, still going into the film room and learning what the back end is doing, but also learning what the front's doing as well, I feel like just can expand my knowledge of the whole game completely.
I know it's a different staff, but last year the coaching staff said it. You wanted, you would go back to safety at the end of the year. You were doing something for the team, playing linebacker. You've stayed now, obviously. Why did you choose to stay at linebacker?
I for sure have to say because of the success I had last year, and the weight that I put on with Coach Lanning and Coach Love's amazing weight gain program. So I for sure have to say, just based off the success I had last year, and how deep the safety room was last year, for sure made me stay down in the box.
Did you ever think linebacker was in the picture when you were coming here? Was that even something on the radar, or just your experience at Oregon is different now?
Right.
How much was it unexpected to? Oh, this could maybe happen if this happens.
Coming in, it was kind of like a joke, because I came in as the biggest safety that they've seen. So all my teammates were like, "Man, you gonna be in the box if you eat 2 cheeseburgers or whatever." So, it was kind of in the back of my head, but it came reality. So,
is the communication for you easier on the defensive side now because you played back in and linebacker? Now you're understanding more of what's going on around you?
For sure. I'd for sure have to say, it's expanded a lot. I've always just gotten better with, better communication, because if I know what the safeties are talking about in the back end, I can also know where my help is, where can I fit in, where are they fitting in as well. So
there's been a lot said about Justin and Noah and their bond both on and off the football field. How do you fit into that linebacker grouping with them?
For sure, I'd have to say, I'm in the mix as well, and obviously they're two amazing players, and I'm blessed to be in the room with them. So,
play style wise, you have probably a little bit more speed. Maybe I know you can also hit a little bit, right? But do you feel like you bring something different, like more of a rover that can play a little bit? Obviously, the safety skill set helps, but what's that been like, kind of fitting around those two guys that can just attack the line of scrimmage so relentlessly?
For sure, I have to say my best attribute in that room would have to be man-to-man coverage and stuff like that. If a running back does line up at the number 1 spot or the number 2 spot, I'm able to go out there and play man-to-man. So.
Yeah. What are the personalities like in that room? I know we hear all about Justin. Noah, he plays similar to Justin. but he's more subdued, it seems like, and you have your own kind of thing going on. What's that been like?
Oh man, really everybody in the room is just one of a kind. They each like attack their days differently. You know what I mean? And we've gotten to the point where we know how to push each other. You know what I mean? We know how to communicate with each other. We know people learn differently in the room as well. And so it's just been good to figure out like how everybody else like learns and stuff like that. So.
Do you have any Justin Flo stories? I'm asking everybody. I got some pretty good ones so far.
Yeah. Really, I just have to say every day his energy. It's just simple. Yeah, just him bringing his energy every day for us. So.
Jeffrey, what's it like seeing Coach Don Johnson back on the road to recovery?
It's amazing, man. I mean, it's a blessing. I love that guy from the bottom of my heart because he's really one of the major guys who got me here, and a guy I had a great relationship with. It's truly a blessing to see him back on his feet.
Coming from defensive back, you mentioned the man-to-man coverage. Do you see yourself as more of an asset in the passing game and compared to the running game, or where do you see the run game fitting into your defensive abilities?
I'd for sure have to say it's 50-50 because from last year, me moving down, I wasn't used to, taking on O-linemen every play, but, that's something I really focused on this offseason was, dealing with offensive linemen because, I feel like I was pretty mature in the past game, so that's something I definitely improved on.
How have you been training for that specifically? Is there any drills to either beef up or know how to shed the blocks from the second level better?
There's not like any specific drills, but for sure have to be, just dealing, just asking with the D-line, how they do it and stuff like that, just picking up little things from the D-line and, defensive line coach and, going out to the nickels and stars and how they defeat perimeter blocks and stuff like that. And this also comes in the film room a lot with watching film.
Both Justin and Noah were saying that they often compete in practice and really, really hold each other to a high standard at that linebacker position to try and make each other better. How do you kind of factor in that? Do you have these little competitions with them in practice? Do you talk smack with them outside of practice and keep that energy up with them?
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. I mean, practice is, very crazy. Everybody's flying around and getting to the ball. So I for sure have to say, during practice, we're always going to push each other. You know what I mean? If I like, for example, if me and Noah are out on the field, I'm going to be the guy to, try to beat him to the ball. You know what I mean? Try to go push the ball out first before he does because when Noah gets there, the ball's coming out for sure. So,
how much of a transition has it been to kind of get used to defending Kenny Dillingham's offense as far as instead of what you guys were doing last year in practice at least, and how much better has that made you guys?
Yeah, for sure. Kenny Dillingham, his coach Dillingham's offense is very confusing. There's a lot of moving parts to it, and I feel like from the offense that we faced last year in practice every day, I feel like I for sure got a head start on Coach Dillingham offense and stuff like that. So.
Sounds like this team this year, the new strength and conditioning staff, new coaching staff, new head coach, who's a defensive guy. I'm hearing that maybe speed this summer is something this team has worked on more than in the last few years. Is that true? You guys making it more of a speed game?
Yeah, for sure. Coming from last year, we did have we lost a lot of guys, but we also had a lot of speed guys as well. And we realized that we can use that to our advantage, but we also have a lot of bigs that can, put on speed. So, the coaches came in with a great program and a great mindset just to get us, get our weight up, get our speed up, just so we can improve and be the best of us.
You're going to be the fastest linebacker out there, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They got to use your speed.
Right.
Coach Lanning's system at Georgia was a lot about defensive versatility. How does your versatility help you be an asset to him, both at the linebacker position, the ability to know what the safeties are thinking about, to work with the defensive line? How does that help you?
I would have to say, you can put me in a lot of different packages. I'm like kind of like I like to say I'm a Swiss Army knife, really. So, whatever packages them coaches install for the week or the opponent or in practice, and they want to try something out new. You know what I mean? You can put me in. I feel like you can put me in very different spots and stuff like that, and I'll be able to get the job done.
You feel like that helps you be an asset to a new coaching staff, showcasing the abilities of what you can bring to the table?
For sure. So, I kind of like not to. I don't like to see myself be complacent in just in like one area, but I feel like that for sure can help me in the future too as well.
So what's the kind of that whole thing that Jerry was alluding to in speed and then and bulking up people? kind of that Goldilocks thing, in terms of how the coaches and the conditioning staff have approached this, so that guys are bulking up and not losing speed. Can you address that at all?
Repeat your question.
Well, in terms of speed, right? And a lot of guys bulk up as well, but you don't want to lose speed, which can happen when you bulk up. So how are they orchestrating that?
Really, it's Coach Love's program. He has it set to where most like every day we're not going to train speed, so we're not just losing as much weight. But some days we'll go heavy on speed, and then the next day, maybe it's light on weight. But one day it's heavy on weight and then light on speed. So we're just Coach Love just mixing it around a little bit in his program. So
thank you, appreciate it.
I don't want to put any pressure on you, but with your speed, inside linebacker doesn't get a lot of picks, but if you do, I'm expecting that to be pick six. There's nobody to catch you, right?
Right. To the crib.
In terms of excitement factor for you from last year's system compared to this year's system, is it more exciting for you to play in a landing system than it was last year?
Yes, no doubt. Because with as much of success that Coach Lanning has had over the years with his defense, and what he's bringing in, and with Coach Lupoy as well, coming in from the Jaguars last season. So I feel like it's going to be a great defensive year, and I'm excited. I've learned so many new things from Coach Long, Coach Lanning, all my defensive coaches, and I'm thankful for them.
When it comes to a Coach Dillingham offense, all the offensive guys are saying how explosive it's going to be. Even Seven called it like, it might be closer to the Chip Kelly days of Oregon. What's it like going against an offense like that in practice, and how does that help you guys?
It's wild because Coach Dillingham is going to bring something new every day, and there's a lot of moving parts. So if you're focused on one guy, another guy is going to be open. So I'm excited to see what the offense brings to the field this year.
Jeff, one thing for you to make it easy, actually, for all of us, because we've heard it both ways. This is going to sound silly. Jeff or Jeffrey?
Jeff.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Because early on we were told Jeffrey.
Right.
I just want to be sure for everybody. We have Jeffrey here, so I just wanted to make sure.
Right. Yeah. No, all good.
Okay. How would you describe the money in the MAC position, and how that's different compared to what you're doing this year?
Really, those two positions aren't so different. Really, those two positions aren't really different at all. If the offense motions to a certain formation, people are going to have to know both jobs, and jobs can flip just like that. So that's really it.
From a pass rush standpoint, when the defense didn't have a lot of it last year, and KT was such a big part of it, what do you see in terms of your own potential to be one of those pass rushers this year because of what Coach Lanning did from the interior with those linebackers at Georgia, and freed up all kinds of things for those guys, not just to be downhill run stoppers, but to be pass rushers? Right.
That's something I've also emphasized with myself, going and taking a look in the mirror and emphasizing myself, because watching film on Georgia last year with Coach Lanning over there, the linebackers were used a lot in the pass rush. So, going home and, staying in the offseason, that's something I trained on with myself and Noah as well, that we could, also, be huge in the pass game and not just let the defensive ends eat, so.
Noah called Justin the team's spirit animal. He called Justin Flo the team's spirit animal. Would that be a fair assessment, and why?
His energy that he brings every day is, through the roof, and as you guys can see from the media and as well as that. So, but the energy he brings to the meeting room, to the field, it's through the roof, and it's unmatched. So.